It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
Greg has a question out on YouTube. He says, after leaving an employer, when is the best time to roll over a 401k into an IRA? Are you actually selling those investments and reinvesting them in that process?
All right. So when is the best time? First, you have to, before you decide the best time to roll over, you got to decide, should I roll over? Because when we leave employment, we really have three options. I don't say four because the fourth one is a non-option. You have three options. You can either roll it over to an IRA, like what you described. You can roll it over to your new employer's 401k if you have a new employer that provides a plan, or you can leave it where it is, assuming that the account is large enough to justify staying in the plan. So you got to do a little bit of due diligence. You have to decide, okay, what are the cost differences? What are the fee differences? You have to think about those things to figure out which one of those three might make the most sense for you. Here's what you don't do, and I love that Greg's question was posed this way, Brian. You don't cash it out, because I feel like I see people all the time do that. They leave a job like, hot dog, I can now get to my money, I'm going to cash it out. Well, what you don't realize is if you're under 59 and a half and you cash that out, not only are you going to pay ordinary income tax on those distributions, you're also going to get slapped with a penalty. You are literally taking soldiers out of your army for no reason at all. So you want to make sure you understand which one of those three things that I should do. So his question, Brian, is what's the best time and how do I really decide?
So let's assume, make an assumption here that he's done all the work and he's figured out, yeah, I need to leave this plan. Maybe it was the golf buddy of the owner of the company. This plan doesn't have a good product. It doesn't have good investment funds. It doesn't have diversifiers, and it's just straight up expensive. So I'm out the door, not only with my employment, but also with my assets. Here's how I would approach the logistics of this. First of all, you need to know, when does your company, have you gotten all your money? Because you want to make sure that matching money typically goes in right as you're funding it as well with your salary deferral. But it's not uncommon for profit sharing plans, cash balance plans, and other things to actually, for the prior year, to fund in the following year. Say we're in 2022 right now. It's not uncommon for that profit sharing contribution or that cash balance plan contribution to hit before the tax filing deadline of 2023. And with extensions and everything else, because sometimes you get into complexity, it might be September or October before your money is actually put into the account. So first thing logistically is find out, have you gotten all your money? Don't leave until your account is full with everything you're entitled to. Look, if you screw this up, yes, there's a way to fix it, but I'm just telling you what's the
It's a lot easier to not
least
screw it up.
resistance to where you don't have to call back to that former employer and go through that rollover process all over again. So that's the first thing. Make sure you've got all your money. Second thing is, a lot of people, once you decide you move it, you're trying to figure out, am I fully invested or am I dollar cost averaging this? This is a question we get. I always tell people that I look at your money since it was fully invested in the retirement account, and then when you move it to a new account, I don't dollar cost average that, even though it might come in as a big check or cash, because especially if you're in a plan with the golf buddy, it might have been a bunch of proprietary funds, insurance-based products, or other things. So the only way you can get it into the low-cost option, like a Vanguard, Fidelity, or Schwab, is that they have to liquidate and send a check to your new custodian, whether it's an IRA or your new 401k or 403b. There might be an option that's turned into cash. And I think a lot of people, as soon as they see that it turned into cash, they're like, well,
I guess I got a
dollar cost averages thing. Because I've heard these guys are big fans of dollar cost averaging to avoid the potential of the market meltdown. That's not the way I would think about this. You had fully invested money. It just had a transition period because you had to get it to a better place. Yes, there's going to be some opportunity costs for that week or two that it's in cash. But I would put that typically in my what I've done is I have put that money back to work. Now, look, you might get stuck a little bit in the fact that maybe the market goes down right after you do it, but that's okay. You're in a better plan if you did the due diligence on figuring out, do I have better investment options? Do I have lower cost options? I think you ought to stay invested during that process.
Let me tell you a little industry insider secret. A lot of providers, they want to do the easy thing. And the easy thing, frankly, is, okay, I'm going to sell all your assets on this day. I'm going to cut a check. I'm going to mail it to your address of record. You should always, if you can, ask, hey, is it possible to transfer these assets in kind? I want to roll it from my plan in kind to an IRA rollover. The answer might not always be yes, but you should at least ask the question, because then you don't have that lag time of being out of the market, or maybe you run the risk of selling on a down day and buying on an up day. It's small, it's incremental, it doesn't matter that much. But if you have a 401k that's at Fidelity and you're trying to roll it into an IRA rollover at Fidelity, it's not uncommon for some of those holdings, S&P 500 type holdings, index type holdings, to be able to roll over without being liquidated. So the language you want to ask is, can I roll this rollover, any portion of it, over in kind without liquidating? And that way you can wait till it's in your IRA, and then you can make the decisions around, do I want to sell, buy, reallocate? It puts more of the control on your side of the table.
It's not always going to work out, but I do love that actually also takes care of some of the behavioral stuff.
Right. Yep.
Because I will tell you guys, I just want to prepare you. When you have to go to cash and then do a transfer process, it's kind of, I mean, for us financial mutants, it's like the worst. I mean, I can tell you right now, I'm going through an HSA transfer, because my original HSA provider I had forever, because they were low cost, had good investment options before Fidelity came on the scene. They're changing custodians. So I was like, well, heck, if we're changing custodians, I'd just rather consolidate and bring it all and make it easy. Well, now my money, that HSA money, got caught in this whole transportation boondoggle, and we had last Fridays, because that was when we do those 10 days you don't want to miss to protect your return. Last Friday was a pretty powerful one. I mean, when the market makes 6 or 7% in a day,
that's big.
You can tell historically that's a pretty substantial day. That is a risk you always run when you have to do the conversion process or transfer process. So if you can take Bo's inside tip, at least ask the question, hey, can these assets transfer in kind? Maybe you save yourself that heartache of the missed opportunity costs there.
That's great.